your team right now, you mentioned before morale, right? Working on the
Yes.
team morale. How are that? What are you doing to keep maintaining team morale? Because as a leader in business, period, with or without COVID, that's the thing. So what are some mechanisms you use to maintain that morale and keep your team upbeat?
Yeah, good question. I think to keep morale and engagement up, we've just really created throughout the week times where we engage. So, it might be business updates, could be fun activities, trivia. And I've always got a revolving chair. I'm always trying to say, hey, who's going to take the next, trivia? Who's going to take the next business update? I think it's important to just while we're at home, just keep it fresh. But what I have noticed is people want to catch up. They want to connect. So actually, I've asked the teams, I've said, do you want to do it once a week, twice a week? How often do you want to engage? And what do you want it to look like? So over the months, I've been asking them and trying to work out what is the best way. And and we've adapted and just changed things up. But yeah, we definitely, I think instead of me emailing, an update, I'm doing it more online, more regularly.
Nice.
Because I think when people, are going through this period of such uncertainty, I think they do really want to hear from the leader. They want to hear from people, everything okay? How are we tracking? What's going on? And then they can ask questions. Yeah. And I think that's really important. It seems to be working for us so far, so I'm going to continue.
I'm sure
that.
it is. Yeah, your team are right. I love though you described there the empowering, like not to feel that you've got to do it all yourself, but actually rotate that and get them involved and get them taking hands on. That empowerment is an important aspect as well. I'm sure that pays dividends. What's the benefits by doing that? By empowering them and getting them to take ownership? What do you see being impacted?
Well, do you know what I've seen, which I love, is they've put their own little, their own personality and their own on these presentations, on the way they want to do it. I think they've felt a sense of freedom. And it's been really nice and, a bit quirky. And everyone's just taking their own little way of doing these things. And I really like it because I think it does empower them. They get to present their own data or present whatever it's going to be. I think it's nice. And I think, it doesn't always have to be the leader or the senior manager. No. Whoever's up for it, give it a go.
Very Pixar in style. That's kind of their motto as they get everybody involved. I'm going to turn my camera around a bit while we're talking because the sunlight, can you see the afternoon sun is hitting my shirt in a particular way? So don't mind me while I just move a bit. There we go. I really want to ask you as well though, because you've also inherited a team overseas, right? So as a leader of a pretty sizable business, but now you've got a team overseas, in your case, Europe, in a country I love. But walk us through that. What's it like having a team kind of report into you from Eastern Bloc of Europe, no less?
Yeah. So you know what? I must say it didn't feel like a change at all. Mm-hmm. So it felt like business as usual to me. I didn't feel like we changed because of COVID. Yes, they worked from home. So there was that kind of change in terms of office to home and get the technology right. But really, it was very, very smooth. I think we have a lot of communication tools. We're catching up like we do normally. So, yeah, I think, just making sure you've got those checkpoints in those milestones and you're communicating all the time. Yeah, no problems at all. No difference.
Because culture is an important part of the business success as well, right? I mean, when you look at the team culture and the business culture, are there mechanisms that you use to make sure that that culture is sustained? And especially when you are bringing a team in from overseas as well?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, especially when you're talking about people from a different culture who have maybe never experienced a culture like ours, for example, in Australia or New Zealand. So yeah, it's education. It's education, and it's understanding how we communicate to them. There's those little idiosyncrasies that you've just got to iron out and just make sure they understand. But they grasped it pretty quickly, which was terrific. But yeah, it's all in that. you know, in making sure that when you are putting your processes in place, that all this is really articulated and documented really thoroughly. That's one thing we've had to work really hard on, to make sure that with any of those sorts of transitions, that, you know, it's as foolproof as you can make it.
As documentation of the processes, right? I'm sure that line alone, I'm almost certain I can think of people that'll be listening to these that will pick up on that, myself included at times. But how easy is it to miss though, right? And especially when you're reacting or adapting quickly, like what's your tips around making sure you do iron out and get those processes documented well?
Yep.
What tips might you have?
You know what? Use cases are always really good. You know, to be able to, like, use cases or case studies.
Oh, yes.
Giving examples and role playing, like lots of that documented, even role playing live, like on a virtual, like for us, for example. But yeah, all that's really, really important. I think the more examples you can give, the better. And that goes with pretty much, you know, sales teams locally and globally. I think the more you document and give people examples, the better they can understand it.
Yeah.
So